Summary of book number 1. Who will cry when you die?
Chapter 1. If you don't act on life, life has a habit of acting on you. When Robin Sharma was growing up, his father said to him, "Son, when you were born, you cried while the world rejoiced. Live your life in such a way that when you die, the world cries while you rejoice." We live in a world where it is increasingly difficult to understand what life is all about. We have perfected the science of transporting ourselves to the moon, but have trouble walking across the street to meet a new neighbor. It has become super easy to fire a missile across the world with pinpoint accuracy, but we have trouble keeping a date with our children to go to the library. We are connected every minute of the day through email, fax machines, and digital phones, yet we live in a time where human beings have never been less connected. We have lost touch with our purpose. We have lost sight of the things that matter the most. If you don't act on life, life has a habit of acting on you. The days slip into weeks, the weeks slip into months, and the months slip into years. Pretty soon, it's all over, and you're left with nothing more than a heart filled with regret over a life half lived. As you start to read this book, soberly answer this question: who will cry when you die? How many lives will you touch while you have the privilege to walk this planet? What impact will your life have on the generations that follow you? And what legacy will you leave behind after you have taken your last breath? One vital lesson Robin Sharma has learned from his life is that if you don't act on life, life has a habit of acting on you. The days slip into weeks, the weeks slip into months, and the months slip into years. Pretty soon it's all over, and you're left with nothing more than a heart filled with regret over a life half lived. Bernard Shaw was asked on his deathbed, "What would you do if you could live your life over again?" He reflected, then replied with a deep sigh, "I'd like to be the person I could have been but never was." This book was written so that this will never happen to you. Chapter 2. A meaningful life is made up of a series of daily acts of decency and kindness. A meaningful life is made up of a series of daily acts of decency and kindness, which, ironically, add up to something truly great over the course of a lifetime. Become more creative in the ways you show compassion to strangers, paying the toll for the person in the car behind you, offering your seat on the subway to someone in need, and being the first to say hello are great places to start. On his deathbed, Aldous Huxley reflected on his entire life's learning, and then summed it up in 7 simple words. Let us be kinder to one another. Practice tough love. Robin calls the habit of self-discipline tough love, because getting tough with yourself is actually a very loving gesture. By being stricter with yourself, you will begin to live life more deliberately on your own terms, rather than simply reacting to life the way a leaf floating in a stream drifts according to the flow of the current on a particular day. The successful person has the habit of doing the things failures don't like to do. E. M. Gray, essayist and thinker. Keep a journal. Maintaining a daily journal is one of the best personal growth initiatives you will ever take. Writing down your daily experiences, along with the lessons you have drawn from them, will make you wiser with each passing day. You will develop self-awareness and make fewer mistakes. And keeping a journal will help clarify your intentions so that you remain focused on the things that truly count. Writing in a journal offers you the opportunity to have regular one-on-one conversations with yourself. It forces you to do some deep thinking in a world where deep thinking is a thing of the past. It will also make you a clearer thinker and help you live in a more intentional and enlightened way. Writing in a journal offers you the opportunity to have regular one-on-one conversations with yourself. In addition, it provides a central place where you can record your insights on important issues, note key success strategies that have worked for you, and commit to all those things you know are important to achieve for a high-quality, professional, personal, and spiritual life. And your personal journey gives you a private place to flex your imagination and define your dreams. Did you know? A journal is not a diary. A diary is a place where you record events, while a journal is a place where you analyze and evaluate them. Chapter 3. When you don't keep your word, you lose credibility. When you lose credibility, you break the bonds of trust. To develop an honesty philosophy, begin to monitor how many small untruths you tell over the course of a week. Go on what Robin calls a truth fast for the next 7 days and vow to be completely honest in all your dealings with others and with yourself. Every time you fail to do the right thing, you fuel the habit of doing the wrong thing. Every time you do not tell the truth, you feed the habit of being untruthful. When you lose credibility, you break the bonds of trust. Honor your past. Every second you dwell on the past, you steal from your future. Every minute you spend focusing on your problems, you take away from finding your solutions. And thinking about all those things that you wish never happened to you is actually blocking all the things you want to happen from entering into your life. Given the timeless truth that holds that you become what you think about all day long, it makes no sense to worry about past events or mistakes unless you want to experience them for a second time. Instead, use the lessons you have learned from your past to rise to a whole new level of awareness and enlightenment. Every second you dwell on the past, you steal from your future. Start your day well. The way you begin your day determines the way you will live your day. Robin calls the first 30 minutes after you wake up the Platinum 30, since they are truly the most valuable moments of your day and have a profound influence on the quality of every minute that follows. If you have the wisdom and self-discipline to ensure that, during this key period, you think only the purest of thoughts and take only the finest of actions, you will notice that your days will consistently unfold in marvelous ways. If your priorities don't get scheduled into your planner, other people's priorities will get put into your planner. Learn to say no gracefully. Robin wrote in Leadership Wisdom from the Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, if your priorities don't get scheduled into your planner, other people's priorities will get put into your planner. The solution is to be clear about your life's highest objectives, and then to learn to say no with grace. Did you know, every time you fail to do the right thing, you fuel the habit of doing the wrong thing. Every time you do not tell the truth, you feed the habit of being untruthful. Chapter 4. Plan for a weekly period of peace to get back to the simpler pleasures of life. In ancient days, the seventh day of the week was known as the Sabbath, reserved for some of life's most important yet commonly neglected pursuits. However, as the pace of life quickened and more activities began to compete for people's attention, this wonderful tradition was lost, along with the tremendous personal benefits that flowed from it. Stress itself is not a bad thing. The real problem lies in the fact that in this age of global anxiety, we do not get enough relief from stress. So, to revitalize yourself and nourish the deepest part of you, plan for a weekly period of peace, a weekly sabbatical to get back to the simpler pleasures of life, pleasures that you may have given up as your days grew busier and your life more complex. Revitalize yourself by planning for a weekly period of peace, a weekly sabbatical, to get back to the simpler pleasures of life. Schedule worry breaks. Too many people are spending the best years of their lives stuck in a state of constant worry. They worry about their jobs, the bills, the environment, and their kids. And yet, we all know deep in our hearts that most of the things we worry about never happen. The Sanskrit character for funeral pyre is strikingly similar to the Sanskrit character for worry. One burns the dead while the other burns the living. One of the simple strategies Robin learned to conquer the worry habit was to schedule specific times to worry. This is called worry breaks. If you are facing a difficulty, it is easy to spend all your waking hours focusing on it. Instead, Robin recommends that you schedule fixed times to worry, say 30 minutes every evening. During this worry session, you may wallow in your problems and brood over your difficulties. But after that period ends, you must train yourself to leave your troubles behind and do something more productive, such as going for a walk in natural surroundings, or reading an inspirational book, or having a heart-to-heart conversation with someone you love. If during other times of the day you feel the need to worry, jot down what you want to worry about in a notebook, which you can then bring to your next worry break. This simple but powerful technique will help you gradually reduce the amount of time you spend worrying and eventually serve to eliminate this habit forever. Did you know? Your weekly sabbatical does not have to last a full day. All you need are a few hours alone, perhaps on a quiet Sunday morning, when you can spend some time doing the things you love to do the most. Chapter 5. Make the time to connect to your more playful side, the child within you. Some time back, Robin took his 4-year-old son, Colby, to an Italian restaurant for lunch. It was a beautiful autumn day. They both ordered pasta for their main course and then started to enjoy the freshly baked bread the waiter had brought. There, Colby taught his father yet another lesson in the art of living. Rather than eating the bread as most adults do, Colby took a different, far more creative approach. He began to scoop out the warm, soft part of the bread and left the crust intact. In other words, he had the wisdom to focus on the best part of the bread and leave the rest. Colby reminded his father that grown-ups spend too much time focusing on the crust of life rather than on all the good things that flow in and out of their days. They focus on challenges at work, the pile of bills they have to pay, and the lack of time to do all those things they need to do. But our thoughts do form our world, and what we think about does grow in our lives. What we focus on will determine our destiny, and so we must start focusing on the good stuff. In the weeks ahead, make the time to connect to your more playful side, the child within you, and focus on the good things that flow in and out of your days. Focus on the good things that flow in and out of your days. Edison was inspired to manifest the visions he saw on the picture screen of his imagination into reality. Jonas Salk, who discovered the polio vaccine, was inspired to help others from suffering from this dreaded affliction. Genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. Thomas Edison. How inspired are you in your own life? Do you jump out of bed on Monday mornings, or do you simply lie there with a sense of emptiness flooding through your body? If your level of inspiration is lower than you know it should be, read a good self-help book or listen to a motivating audiobook. Attend a public lecture by someone you admire, or spend a few hours studying the biography of one of your heroes. Start spending time with people who are passionate about what they are doing in their lives and dedicated to making the best out of life. With a healthy dose of inspiration, you will quickly raise your life to a whole new plane of living. Did you know? You are not here to merely make a living. You are here in order to enable the world to live more amply, with greater vision, with a finer spirit of hope and achievement. You are here to enrich the world, and you impoverish yourself if you forget the errand. Chapter 6. Experiencing solitude will keep you centered on your highest life priorities. When was the last time you made the time to be silent and still? When was the last time you carved out a chunk of time to enjoy the power of solitude to restore, refocus, and revitalize your mind, body, and spirit? All of the great wisdom traditions of the world have arrived at the same conclusion: to reconnect with who you really are as a person and to come to know the glory that rests within you. You must find the time to be silent on a regular basis. Sure, you are busy, but as Thoreau said, it is not enough to be busy, so are the ants. The question is, what are you so busy about? Experiencing solitude for even a few minutes a day will keep you centered on your highest life priorities and help you avoid the neglect that pervades the lives of so many. Get up early. Winning the battle of the bed and putting mind over mattress by rising early will provide you with at least one quiet hour for yourself during the most crucial part of your day, the beginning. If spent wisely, the rest of your day will unfold in a wonderful way. There is something very special about the first few hours in the morning. Time seems to slow down, and a deep sense of peace fills the air. See your troubles as blessings. During Robbins' life leadership seminars, he often asks the participants this question: who would agree with me that we learn the most from our most difficult experiences? Inevitably, nearly every hand in the room goes up. Given this, why do we spend so much of our lives focusing on the negative aspects of our most difficult experiences, rather than seeing them for what they truly are, our greatest teachers? You would not have the wisdom and knowledge you now possess were it not for the setbacks you have faced, the mistakes you have made, and the suffering you have endured. Once and for all, come to realize that pain is a teacher and failure is the highway to success. Our most difficult experiences are our greatest teachers. Laugh more. According to one study, the average 4-year-old laughs 300 times a day, while the average adult laughs about 15 times a day. With all the obligations, stresses, and activities that fill our days, we have forgotten how to laugh. Daily laughter has been shown to elevate our moods, promote creativity, and give us more energy. Did you know? Comedian Steve Martin reportedly laughs for 5 minutes in front of the mirror every morning to get his creative juices flowing and to start his day on a high note. Try it, it works. Laughter therapy has even been used to cure illnesses and heal those with serious ailments. Chapter 7. Start taking more risks and doing the things you fear. On your deathbed in the twilight of your life, it will not be all the risks you took that you will regret the most. Rather, What will fill your heart with the greatest amount of regret and sadness will be all those risks that you did not take, all those opportunities you did not seize, and all those fears you did not face. Life is nothing more than a game of numbers. The more risks you take, the more rewards you will receive. Live a life. We all travel different roads to our ultimate destinations. For some of us, the path is rockier than for others, but no one reaches the end without facing some form of adversity. So rather, fight it. Why not accept it as the way of life? Why not detach yourself from the outcomes and simply experience every circumstance that enters your life to the fullest? Feel the pain and savor the happiness. If you have never visited the valleys, the view from the mountaintop is not as breathtaking. There are no real failures in life, only results. Write thank you notes. One of the simple gestures that have profound consequences is the lost art of writing thank you notes. Everyone loves getting mail. It's a fact of human nature. We all have a deep-seated need to feel important. So this week, go out and buy a package of the blank thank you cards that are now available in bulk at your local office supply warehouse and start writing. You and all the people that you deal with will be glad you did. Always carry a book with you. One of the simplest yet smartest time management strategies you can follow is to never go anywhere without a book under your arm. While others waiting in line are complaining, you will be growing and feeding your mind a rich diet of ideas found in great books. So long as you live, keep learning how to live. Roman philosopher Seneca. How high you will rise in your life will be determined not by how hard you work, but by how well you think. And the person you will be 5 years from now will come down to two primary influences: the people you associate with and the books you read. Did you know? According to U.S. News and World Report, over the course of your lifetime, you will spend 8 months opening junk mail, 2 years unsuccessfully returning phone calls, and 5 years standing in line. Chapter 8. The act of giving to others makes you feel better as well. There are no great acts. There are only small acts done with great love. Mother Teresa. What small acts can you do today to deepen the bonds between you and the people you value the most? What random acts of kindness and senseless acts of beauty can you offer to someone in an effort to make his or her day just a little better? The irony of being more compassionate is that the very act of giving to others makes you feel better as well. To practice being more loving, create a love account. Each day, make a few deposits in this very special reserve by doing something small to add joy to the life of someone around you. Buying your partner fresh cut flowers for no reason at all. Sending your best friend a copy of your favorite book. Or taking the time to tell your children, in no uncertain terms, how you feel about them are all good places to start. Get behind people's eyeballs. One of the deepest of all human hunger is the need to be understood, cherished, and honored. Yet, in the fast-paced days we live in, too many people believe that listening involves nothing more than waiting for the other person to stop talking. And to make matters worse, while that person is speaking, we are all too often using that time to formulate our own response, rather than empathizing with the point being made. Taking the time to truly understand another's point of view shows that you value what he has to say and care about him as a person. When you start getting behind the eyeballs of the person who is speaking and try to see the world from his perspective, you will connect with him deeply and build high trust relationships that last. Taking the time to truly understand another's point of view shows that you value what he has to say and care about him as a person. List your problems. A problem well stated is a problem half solved. Charles Kettering. There is something very special that happens when you take out a piece of paper and list every single one of your problems on it. It is very much like the peaceful feeling you get after telling your best friend about something that has been troubling you for weeks. A weight somehow falls from your shoulders. You feel lighter, calmer, and freer. To let go of the mental clutter that your problems tend to generate, list all your worries on a piece of paper. If you do so, they will no longer be able to fester in your mind and drain your valuable energy. This simple exercise will also permit you to put your problems into perspective and tackle them in an orderly, well-planned sequence. Did you know? The means to gain happiness is to throw out for oneself, like a spider, in all directions an adhesive web of love, and to catch in all that comes. Chapter 9. A person of true character spends his days doing that which is the right thing to do. Most of us know what we need to do in order to live happier, healthier, and more fulfilling lives. The real problem is that we don't do what we know. Knowledge is power? Robin disagrees. Knowledge is not power. Knowledge is only potential power. It transforms itself into actual power the moment you decisively act on it. Wisdom is knowing what to do next. Skill is knowing how to do it. And virtue is doing it. David Starr Jordan. See your children as gifts. Children grow so very quickly. The weeks slip into months, the months slip into years. And before you know it, that little child is now an adult with a family of her own. The greatest gift you can give to your child is the gift of your time. And one of the greatest gifts you will ever give yourself is that of enjoying your kids and seeing them for what they truly are, the small miracles of life. Awareness precedes change. You will never be able to eliminate a weakness you don't even know about. The first step to eliminate a negative habit is to become aware of it. Once you develop an awareness about the behavior you're trying to change, you will be well on your way to replacing it with one that is more helpful. Becoming aware of a weakness, that is, paying attention to it, also attracts more solutions into one's life. Over the coming weeks, reflect on your weakness and vow to transform them into strengths that will add richness and energy to the way you live. You will never be able to eliminate a weakness if you don't know about it. Master your time. It is ironic that so many people say they would do anything for a little more time every day, and yet they squander the time they already have. Time is life's greatest leveler. We all have the same allotment of 24 hours in a day. What separates people who create great lives from the also-rans is how they use these hours. What separates the people who create great lives from the also-rans is how they use these hours. Commit yourself to manage your time more effectively. Develop a keen sense of awareness about how important your life really is. Don't let people waste this most precious of commodities and invest it only in those activities that truly count. Did you know? The end of man is an action and not a thought. The smallest of actions is always better than the boldest of intentions. Chapter 10. Tough times call for cool people, and they are always cool and calm when the pressure is on. Anyone can become angry. That's easy. But to be angry with the right person, to the right degree, at the right time, for the right purpose, and in the right way, that is not easy. Aristotle. With all the stress and pressure in our lives, it is easy to lose our cool at the slightest irritation. The problem with losing your temper on a daily basis is that it becomes a habit. And, like most habits, a time arrives when it becomes second nature. Personal relationships start unraveling, business partnerships begin to fall apart, and your credibility decreases as you become known as a loose cannon. Effective people are consistent and, in many ways, predictable. Tough times call for cool people, and they are always cool and calm when the pressure is on. Keeping your cool in a moment of crisis can save you years of pain and anguish. An excellent way to control your temper is simply to count to 100 before you respond to someone who has irritated you. Recruit a board of directors. By consulting men and women of wisdom, organizations reduce the number of mistakes they make, boost corporate effectiveness, and increase their credibility in the marketplace. Cure your monkey mind. To get the best from life, you must be completely present and mindful in every minute of every hour of every day. Real generosity towards the future consists in giving all to what is present. Albert Camus. Yeah, on most days, our minds are in 10 different places at any one time. Rather than enjoying the walk to work, we wonder what the boss will say to us when we get to the office, or what we will have for lunch, or how our children will do at school today. Our minds are like scampering puppies, or, as they say in the East, like unchained monkeys, rushing from place to place without any pause for peace. By developing present moment awareness and an abundance of mental focus, you will not only feel much calmer in your life, you will also unlock the fullness of your mind's potential. When too many distractions compete for your attention, the power of your mind is dissipated in all those different directions rather than concentrated on one point, like the rays of a laser beam. Did you know, hurtful words unleashed in a single minute of anger have led to many broken friendships? Words are like arrows. Once released, they are impossible to retrieve. So choose yours with care. Conclusion. One of the greatest life lessons is that if you don't act on life, life has a habit of acting on you. The days slip into weeks, The weeks slip into months, and the months slip into years. Pretty soon, it's all over, and you're left with nothing more than a heart filled with regret over a life half lived. You may ask, how can I find greater meaning in my life? How can I make a lasting contribution through my work? And how can I simplify so that I can enjoy the journey of life before it is too late? The answer? Find your calling. We are all here for some unique purpose, some noble objective that will allow us to manifest our higher human potential, while we, at the same time, add value to the lives around us. Finding your calling doesn't mean you must leave the job you now have. It simply means you need to bring more of yourself into your work and focus on the things you do best. It means you have to stop waiting for other people to make the changes you desire and, as Mahatma Gandhi noted, be the change that you wish to see most in the world. And once you do, your life will change. Try this. Here are 4 tips to help you sleep more deeply. Don't rehearse the activities of your day while you're lying in bed trying to get to sleep. Don't eat after 8 p.m. If you have to eat something, have soup. Don't watch the news before you go to sleep. Don't read in bed.
Summary of book number 2. The Power of Moments.
Key point 1. Direct your life. Don't be carried by it. Think of a few significant moments in your life. Is it a wedding, a graduation, or the first time you met your child? Or maybe you think about transformational events like leaving your job or reading a book. Any of these occasions can be the principal treasures in your memory library. Defining moments are valuable experiences you collect throughout life. Negative encounters involve trauma or heartbreak. For example, imagine being shamed in front of your class or realizing your partner cheated. These events raise emotions and engrave on your mind like a nail trace on a concrete wall. They can affect you so strongly that you decide to take revenge or lose trust in everyone. Positive moments are usually those you refer to during challenging or depressing periods of life, or those you share with others at parties. They can make you feel happy, delighted, and proud. Imagine a father looking at photos of his children in his wallet and recalling the joy he felt when they were little, or a young woman sitting in a taxi and hearing a song and suddenly remembering dancing with her partner in the rain. These moments fill a person with warmth and affection. An outstanding life consists of significant moments. People believe such moments happen to them since all the stars came together to make it happen. Nonetheless, you also have a say in your life and can create breathtaking positive memories. Are you interested in turning your Groundhog Days into a treasure box of mesmerizing stories you'll retell your friends and family for years? If yes, enhance your life's quality by creating defining moments for yourself and others. Key point 2. How your memory tricks you. Imagine going to Disneyland with your family. You wake up early and get the kids dressed. In a rush, you miss breakfast in the hotel and hit terrible traffic. By the time you reach your destination, you're already tired. However, energy rushes back when you see the famous Disney sign. Wow! You ride Space Mountain and laugh so hard that it's impossible to breathe. When you recall that experience after a year, you will remember only the brightest moments, like the feeling of joy with your family. Curiously, your mind will discard the stressful morning routine, long queues, maybe this one you will remember, and tiredness in your body. It happens because your brain neglects the duration and overall picture of the experience and focuses on the peak and the transitions, the beginning or the end. This mind trick is handy for businesses whose success depends on the user experience, like hotels or restaurants. Most hotels have a similar goal, providing people shelter for a night. But what if it sets a different purpose? To make the guests' time there unforgettable. Our lives are measured in moments, and defining moments are the ones that endure in our memories. Chip Heath and Dan Heath. Even if the place is ordinary, it may stand out through its services. Would you remember a hotel where you call a red phone beside the pool and they bring you a bowl of ice cream for free? The Magic Castle Hotel does that. The idea is to go the extra mile to help clients make memories. They'll appreciate the gesture and promote the hotel better than ads. Details make all the difference. So, how do you create those life-shaping moments for yourself and others? Start by realizing that defining experiences may be significant and small. The former can drastically affect your life, like meeting your partner or escaping a catastrophe. The latter, on the other hand, stands out on a particular background, like an extraordinary event on your vacation. Living a life of Groundhog Days is a choice you can change. The duration of memories also varies. They may last for a second or a whole month. For instance, you can estimate your year in college by the first few weeks, as the rest will feel ordinary and known. Think of one day or weekend you can spend differently than others. How can you make it special? Key point 3. Make your life an adventure. If you recall your best moments in detail, you'll see that you were not only a part of that experience, but its creator. You won the lottery because you bought the ticket and married a perfect match because you rejected all those unsuitable. Plunging deeper into these experiences lets you see how much power you have over your life. Follow these steps to consciously create the brightest memories. 1. Focus on spotting the moment. Be prepared to turn that particular event into a great occasion. Some moments have a potential you mustn't overlook, as they will become a core memory if you invest time and effort. Transitions occur when you start a new page, like having a baby or starting a career. Such events are full of novelty. You feel excitement and even fear. Butterflies in your stomach go crazy, as if you've eaten all the chocolate bars in your stash. However, sometimes people miss the opportunity to make that day special. For example, new employees often fill out forms and sign papers instead of enjoying their first day at work. The occasionally remarkable moments shouldn't be left to chance. They should be planned for, invested in. Chip Heath and Dan Heath. Milestones are moments or dates that signify a new phase, or summarize and underline the previous experience. Some are universal, like birthdays and anniversaries people celebrate and value more than others. For instance, hitting 18 or 21 is the most important in youth, as it makes a person legally adult and means they can move out and buy property. Pits signify the lowest points in a negative experience or event. They are the opposite of peaks, just as intense positive moments. Most have lived through negative incidents, from cold water in a hotel room to a painful medical procedure. Filling pits with love and care can turn them into peaks. For example, quick solutions and a humble attitude will flip adverse incidents into positive memories. Celebrating life means honoring every experience. 2. Ensure that your defining moment involves one or more of the following elements: elevation, insight, pride, and connection. Although some moments deserve more commemoration and attention than others, you can create powerful memories out of the most ordinary things, just like the little treasures in your secret box. First date cinema tickets or your first karate medal. These things have no value to others, but they may be priceless to you. Key point 4. The moment of elevation. Turn your life into a holiday. Think about those special days when every color seemed brighter, emotions stronger, and people more friendly. Those could be parties, journeys, or dates. They were exceptional because you felt elevated. Everything was out of the ordinary and novel. Some events, like weddings or competitions, already have peaks and feel exceptional. They build up to a climax where you feel excited and the moment sinks into the long-term memory. When you are young, time crawls and stumbles, but when you get older, it flies so quickly that you forget to tear off the calendar pages. The reason is that you accumulate memorable events between the ages of 15 to 30, as most first times happen in this period: graduation, first kiss, job, marriage, and children. Later, people plunge into a routine and forget to celebrate every occasion. Thus, many worthy moments can pass unnoticed. This phenomenon is called a reminiscence bump. Yet, you can change it by bringing novelty to your life, whatever your age. Time is the most precious asset. Make it count. The ability to make every moment special enhances every life sphere, from raising a child to developing a company. Most CEOs play defense by filling up the pits and placing complaint-free service as their top aim. Nonetheless, such an attitude rarely ends with 5-star reviews. The trick is to exceed customers' expectations by going the extra mile. For example, Southwest Airlines flight attendants make hilarious jokes during safety announcements. Elevation moments are rare, but you can make more of them with a few strategies. Enhance the sensory appeal. Unique clothing, decorations, or officiality are part of most social events. That is what dresses the reality up to make it extraordinary. Raise the stakes. Ali Farben sings, "Bad ideas make the best memories." Most adults live in a house made of duties and schedules. Although such a routine provides stability, it may drag them into the swamp of gray days. Games, competitions, and performances distract people from the convention and make them live in the moment. Break the script. The effect of surprise is powerful in everyday situations. They make a person feel alive and energetic, showing new horizons of life. Did you know? The oddball effect exemplifies that people feel time expands when they feel joy and have fun. This scientific fact contradicts the widespread belief that time flies when you enjoy it, as routine days pass faster. Key point 5. The moment of insight. Learn from experience. Some events may be highly unpleasant or painful, but lead to learning and positive change. For example, imagine having a friend that often borrows money but never pays it back. Suddenly, you understand. They see you as an ATM, not a friend. This realization hits you like a lightning bolt and you stop lending money. Moments of insight aim at teaching, not bringing pleasure. They make your knowledge about yourself and the world more profound and qualitative. You can increase the frequency of these moments for both yourself and others through the following methods. Tripping over the truth makes a person learn effectively and abruptly. It's the realization that dawns on you out of thin air. You can build up knowledge for your loved ones, employees, or neighbors with 3 vital elements. 1. Decide on the clear insight you want them to know. 2. Choose a short time to realize it. And 3. Make them discover it by dramatizing the conditions or putting them in a particular environment. Admire the problem to value the solution. Therefore, to make someone notice and solve a problem, you must put them into enhanced conditions. You can ask questions that will point them in the right direction, but don't give them the answer. Truth is most effective when it is found, not imposed. The moment of insight is when you want to shout, "Bingo!" Stretching is putting yourself at risk of failure, like trying a new business or relationship, or moving to another place. Such practice lends to self-insight when you see your strengths and weaknesses and may determine what you want and need, whether it's your work, hobby, or life. It also shows you what you're capable of. The most effective formula to help others stretch and realize their potential comprises the following stages. 1. Establishing high standards. 2. Assuring the person of their worth, intelligence, and power. 3. Directing them to the right path. 4. Providing support along the way. This formula works in any setting, from enhancing your child's academic success to empowering your employees. Although it may seem radical or counterintuitive, it lets the person grow. For example, Sarah Blakely started her company Spanx because she didn't fear failure. Her career path was challenging and she endured defeat long before starting her own business. Moreover, her father taught her to treat losses as a lesson, not a tragedy, by regularly asking his children what they fail at. Key point 6. The moment of pride. Build success through recognition and courage. Medals, certificates, and prizes symbolize life experiences when others recognize and praise your accomplishments. The social aspect highlights your hard work and motivates you to grow. People often affect your life, especially in childhood. A teacher can inspire their students or make them feel underrated. Many people have heartbreaking stories of how their talents and creativity were suppressed in school. A similar problem plagues the business world. Employees often leave work because they don't feel appreciated and noted. Thus, recognition from supervisors and managers is critical for workers' performance. The need for money pushes a person to work, but only encouragement and recognition make them do it with love. However, praise must not be programmed or scheduled. It should be natural and personally addressed at a particular behavior or achievement. DonorsChoose is one of the few companies that successfully systematize recognition without losing its personalized approach. People who contributed to the company receive a package of handwritten letters from the students they helped. Imagine reading a funny letter from a 6-year-old child thanking you for some pencils. It would fill you with pride and tears. Recognition is a universal motivation tool. Gamification is an excellent way to enhance moments of pride. Instead of setting one ambiguous goal, it creates a route full of milestones and little achievements worth noticing and celebrating. For example, make a plan like this if you want to lose weight. 1. Take the stairs instead of the elevator for the next week. 2. Have a salad for dinner. 3. Run 1 mile. Finally, courage ignites pride, but this trait demands practice. Sometimes people stay indifferent or ignorant because they don't know how to respond, or are so taken aback that they fail to react on time. For example, you may know how to act when someone humiliates your friend, but the action requires bravery. Implementing intention helps you to predetermine your response and act quickly. So list the potential situations that might require your reaction and work out the best solution for each. Now you can count on yourself because you're ready for any potential conflict. Demonstrating courage also signifies pushing boundaries, making the right choice under pressure, or sticking to your values. Everyday bravery can inspire someone else and lead to their own moments of pride. Key point 7. Moment of connection. Create unbreakable bonds. The social aspect makes every defining moment more vivid, but it also has the potential to create memories of bonding when an experience turns two strangers into best friends. For example, a catastrophe or a war can provoke bravery and self-sacrifice. Moments of connection start a relationship and may save or enhance it in a challenging moment. For instance, having discovered a particular insight about your marriage, your partner does extraordinary deeds for you and becomes more caring and loving, drastically transforming your life together. People support relationships through various means, some of which are unconscious. Sometimes people laugh at jokes which are not funny because laughter is a principal socializing tool aimed at tying group dynamics. It makes everyone feel included and valuable. Moreover, significant events require people to witness them. Concerts, weddings, parties, marches, and festivals are social moments where people feel a part of an elevated and extraordinary atmosphere. This feeling unites people's energy so they are on the same wavelength. A conscious tool to connect with someone lies in going through a tough time or facing and solving a challenging task together. If two people's goals coincide and they're working as allies, not rivals, their path will flow into one like the river, growing stronger and deeper. People bond when they have the same purpose. While passion is personal and sometimes isolates people from each other, purpose unites them. So how can you discover or cultivate it? By asking yourself why, this question will eventually lead you to the underlying purpose of your work, relationship, or life. Always remember the value of a meaningful conversation. It may save lives. Another method to deepen a connection is through communication. Not small talk, but authentic turn-by-turn discussion. This way, everyone has their say and feels listened to. Intimate questions like, "What was your childhood like?" or "What do you value in yourself and others?" may turn distant acquaintances into close friends. Sometimes people feel upset or depressed simply because no one has asked them how their day was. Finally, enhance relationships by boosting mutual understanding, validation, and care. Start by asking your loved ones what matters to them and adjust your actions to their needs. It will show the person you value and respect their choices and desires. Conclusion. Life is like a patchwork blanket. The brightest memories stick together in your memory while the mundane weeks grow faint and disappear. Sadly, many people live on rainy days believing that joy, adventures, and fun should happen to them. They expect happiness instead of generating it. Defining moments are your own creation. You don't have to wait for a vacation to travel and see something new or expect someone else to fill you with joy. Creating memories is treasure hunting. You seek the pearls of knowledge, elevation, pride, and connection among the sand of ordinary hours and days. Even a few of them can make a life worth living, so decide what you lack and take destiny into your hands. You can build defining moments for your family, friends, or coworkers. For example, a celebration for your children after each school year may empower them and enhance their academic success, whereas a deep conversation with your friend may help them realize their values or transform their life for the better. Creating defining moments takes work, especially if you have a busy schedule and work-life balance. Nonetheless, it always pays off. Try this. Follow these steps to create a magnificent and fulfilling life. 1. Imagine that you're on your deathbed. It sounds morbid, but compelling. 2. Think of the top 3 regrets you have. You may work too much, or you would want to spend more time with your children. 3. How can you resolve these regrets by enhancing the defining moments? For example, you can create moments of elevation and connection with your children by organizing family picnics or playing board games. 4. Take action and make your life path memorable.
Summary of book number 3, Life in 5 Senses.
Key point 1. Don't let your restless mind deprive you of real life. Self-awareness is the key to a content life. We must strive to reflect our interests, values, and character each day because our happiness bridges the gap between our inner world and our reality. Self-analysis is a journey that demands time and effort. It includes daily spiritual practices and psychological tasks. On the way to ourselves, we form answers to fundamental questions about the human soul and challenge our complexes. However, despite our best efforts, we may occasionally find ourselves trapped in our minds, and to break free, we must reconnect contact with our 5 senses: sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch. Our senses enable us to interact with the external world. Being mindful of them helps us escape the labyrinth of our tangled thoughts and embrace the present moment within our physical bodies. Unfortunately, we often realize the genuine value of our bodies only after we temporarily lose one of these senses. The body is not only a physical shell for the soul, it is the primary receptor through which we perceive life. In our desire to pursue our real life, there's a significant risk of missing out on what's happening to us today, right now. For example, when we see something beautiful, we often rush to capture it on our phones instead of enjoying it and living the moment to the fullest. So, if you spend more time in your thoughts than in reality, this summary is perfect for you. Stay tuned, and you'll learn ways to actively participate in life rather than letting it pass you by. Key point 2. You can't reproduce the moments you've missed. Being attentive to our senses allows us to understand ourselves and others better. We perceive the world uniquely. We can see the same shade of green differently and smell aromas with diverse intensities. Our world is not equal to that of others, so an environment that is comfortable for us may be unbearable for our neighbors. This awareness fosters tolerance and respect for the preferences and tastes of others. The more we understand ourselves, the kinder we'll treat other people. Taking the time to notice the beauty and excitement around us is a surefire way to make the world more comfortable for everyone. Of the 5 senses, sight and hearing play the most vital roles. They orient and inform us about what is happening in the distance. In contrast, the other three senses work at a closer range. Smell requires being close to the source, and taste and touch rely on direct contact. What we see is shaped by the focus of our attention, often causing us to overlook what is happening right in front of us. We forget many details in a familiar, safe environment. For example, a 3-day trip can feel more eventful than 10 days at home. In our usual routine, we often operate on autopilot and even perform tasks without noticing. On the contrary, when faced with new circumstances in an unfamiliar environment, our sensations and emotions intensify. To live every day to the fullest without waiting for special occasions, we must relearn looking around. We can find value in ordinary moments if we try to notice new details in our routine. Even the most tedious and identical days have something special for a sensitive observer. For example, our perception of the view on our daily routine to our work can vary depending on factors such as the weather, our mood, and the lighting. When we shift our attention to discovering the small and delightful wonders around us, we avoid overlooking them and instead develop a greater appreciation for the distinctness of each moment. Simple things are full of surprises. We only have to adjust our focus to see them. What you see is unique to your perception and will never be replicated, so embrace each moment. Key point 3. Silence is a soothing balm for intense sensations. Appreciating moments involves valuing the time allotted to us with our friends and family. As much as we hate to admit it, our time together is finite. People change externally and internally every day, and our loved ones will never be as young as they are now. There will come a day when some of these people will be available to us only in our memories. Therefore, we must spend our time thoughtfully. Even if we see our family on a daily basis, we may not observe and pay attention to them, as simply being in the same space as someone doesn't guarantee that we truly notice them. It is essential to approach our loved ones with genuine care and interest, to ensure that the focus remains on them, not on the background noise. Quality time together involves genuinely listening and looking at one another. Unconsciously, people crave interaction, prompting our senses to seek out human faces or voices. We tend to see them even where they don't exist, to find eyes and mouths in wallpaper patterns, or to hear words in a cat's meow. Faces, much like voices, convey a wealth of information about their owners and surroundings. In close relationships, we can accurately identify the sounds characteristic of our loved ones. Even without sight, we can determine who has entered the room by the sound of footsteps or the manner of knocking on the door. Although this can be endearing, sometimes it can also be irritating, often resulting from overstimulation. Nowadays, noise pollution has reached alarming levels, posing significant mental and physical health risks. Regulating the number of sounds in our personal space means taking responsibility for our well-being. Here are some practical ways to achieve this in our daily lives. Turning off notifications on our gadgets. Excluding the operation of the TV or player in the background. Avoiding shops and restaurants that play loud music in the halls. Silence can be a precious experience. You can forego conversations and spend a few days in seclusion without speaking or listening to podcasts and songs. You will discover a calming and refreshing silence you may have long forgotten. It allows you to hear the course of your thoughts, restore the pleasure of listening to the people near and dear to your heart, and learn to listen to them more thoughtfully. Key point 4. Use scents to regulate your emotions. We used to underestimate the importance of smell before the COVID-19 pandemic, However, as the virus affects our senses of smell and taste, we've realized that smell has a significant psychological aspect. Loss of smell makes you feel isolated. Paradoxically, we can yearn for the people we love, even when they're around, if we don't smell them. Some patients infected with the virus experienced feelings of claustrophobia because the absence of smell made the surrounding space seem airless to them. For many people, nutrition became a problem. They either overate because they could not get satisfaction from food without flavor, or, on the other hand, they stopped eating altogether. Interestingly, we feel the aroma of food not only through the receptors in the nose, but also in the mouth. Accordingly, the sense of smell dramatically complements the taste sensations and allows us to enjoy food fully. The surest way to become happier is to add more of what brings joy to our lives and remove more of what makes us sad. We can use this in the context of all our senses, including the sense of smell. Smells can soothe, invigorate, and give a feeling of security and home. We should not be passive consumers of our sensory experience, but regulate it in our favor. Most often, it only takes a couple of small steps to do this. Replace detergents. Remove bad odor sources. Put a bouquet in the living room or light a candle. The sense of smell has an extraordinary power to stimulate recollections. It's probably because smells overtake us suddenly, providing an intense immersion in a mental image. You can use this to regulate your emotional state. For example, you're likely to associate the scent of the linden tea your grandmother brewed for you as a child with carelessness and security. This fragrance will help you get through a stressful day and relax after. In addition, the sense of smell relates to the feeling of love. A partner's body odor can also form a deep attachment in the mind. This intimate fragrance can cause a strong surge of emotions even at the wrong moment. Did you know? On the Andaman Islands, residents use a calendar that reflects certain plants' flowering periods because they give particular importance to fragrances. Instead of a greeting, locals ask each other, "How is your nose?" Key point 5. Food quenches far more needs than just hunger. The sense of taste reflects our culture, national characteristics, and family traditions, shaping our identity through how, when, with whom, and what we eat. Taste connects us to our family's history and values, as every culture has its own distinctions of acceptable and forbidden foods. We may not eat everything available. For example, we do not eat the meat of certain animals because our ancestors considered it wrong. Eating food together has always been an essential part of community bonding. The ancient custom of sharing food as a diplomatic way to strengthen relationships is still relevant today. By offering food to our guests, we are expressing a warm welcome to them in our home. Also, a meal is more often of an excuse to spend time with family and friends than to satisfy hunger. Food occupies a crucial niche in our emotional state. Our fondness for certain dishes can stem from our love for our family, as we often enjoy meals prepared using our parents' recipes. In addition, we may have a personal list of comfort foods that provide a sense of safety and relaxation. Don't underestimate the ritual of preparing and eating food, as this process engages and satisfies all 5 senses. That's why traditions are so important, whether it's a weekend dinner or the annual Christmas pie. You form special bonds, trust, and intimacy by sharing, cooking, and eating with your loved ones. We better understand our likes and dislikes by talking to others about their preferences and offering them the chance to taste certain products. Thus, we learn to accept and respect the uniqueness of our nature. The more I shaped my sensory world to reflect my individual tastes, the more enjoyable that world would be. Gretchen Rubin. Reflecting on favorite flavors and frequently consumed meals from the past can be a profound personal exercise. These tastes can mentally transport you to different periods of your life and remind you of forgotten preferences. This exercise helps you reconnect with yourself and your life path. In addition, sharing these experiences with siblings or childhood friends can create a sense of shared nostalgia, fostering happiness and alleviating feelings of loneliness. Although many people vaguely remember details from their childhood, you'll find that paying close attention inward helps unlock more memories. Perhaps you've never thought about them, but now they will become insights for you. Key point 6. Hugs are free antidepressants we prescribe to our loved ones. Life begins with touch. Doctors place newborns on their mothers' chests, creating skin-to-skin contact. It makes babies grow well, sleep better, and get sick less. When we hold, rock, and hug toddlers, we promise them that we will look after their well-being. Before children learn to perceive and express information verbally, the sense of touch gives them a feeling of security and safety. In contrast, insufficient physical contact leads to developmental delays in babies. This situation sometimes happens in orphanages if caregivers rarely interact with children tactily. Due to this, babies acquire psychological and behavioral problems. Even as adults, we have a fundamental need for touch. Hugs or strokes can reduce pain, calm the heartbeat, and improve blood pressure. Regular physical contact with loved ones helps us significantly reduce stress levels and enhance sleep quality. When appropriate, touch triggers the production of happiness hormones, natural pain relievers. Tactical interaction with family members, such as a pat on the head or a hug, can significantly improve our well-being in minutes. It serves as a nonverbal means of communication, conveying messages of trust, empathy, and gratitude. Next time you find yourself in a heated conversation with your partner, try holding hands to alleviate tension and prevent conflicts from escalating. Sometimes words only diminish what we want to convey. Gretchen Rubin. You can use your sense of touch to comfort yourself, even if your loved ones are not around. To fill the need for tactile sensations when you are alone, consider the following. Interact with pets, stroking and caressing them. Wear comfortable fabrics such as cashmere, velvet, and silk. Sleep under a heavy blanket that mimics the soothing effect of a hug. Get a massage. Hardly anything can replace the comfort and warmth of human hands, so opt for a manual massage rather than a mechanized one. Hug pillows or plush toys. However, remember that physical contact should be appropriate and consensual. Mishandling touch can cause significant damage to a person's mental state. Realizing the genuine power of touch, you must handle it thoughtfully. Ensure you ask for permission before entering others' personal space to avoid harming them. Attentiveness to your senses should remind you of the responsibility of caring for other people's feelings. Conclusion. The body and soul are inseparable, and bodily sensations nourish and comfort the spirit. Actively caring for our five senses is the most affordable and essential way to maintain our well-being and regulate our mental health. Connection with the body stress, reduce anxiety and panic, and return from thought to reality.
Summary of book number 4, 12 Rules for Life.
Chapter 1. Order, not happiness. In current times, we have become so obsessed with achieving the state of constant happiness that it becomes a silver bullet of a kind. Striving to eliminate anything even slightly negative from our lives, we misunderstand what happiness is really about. As a trained and experienced clinical psychologist, Jordan Peterson knows that happiness is a nearly ephemeral occurrence that signifies our high peaks in life instead of the periods when we are not doing our absolute best. He suggests that, in reality, we long for order, which means arranging our internal and external worlds to make them known and understandable. We want to bring everything possible to escape the chaos. The latter is a mighty terrain where innumerable anxieties as well as possibilities smolder. Order can become excessive, and that's not good, but chaos can swamp us so we drown, and that is also not good. We need to stay on the straight and narrow path. Jordan B. Peterson. We are not alone in this world. Other people come our way. We choose to interact with them, be it friendship or rivalry, if we share the same belief system. It is much easier to find common ground when we depart from the same point in such a case. Matching beliefs that turn into experiences can help us establish bonds of trust. We don't have to pursue the order single-handedly. People who think alike can be our allies. Each chapter of this summary contains 2 rules put forward by Jordan Peterson. Some of them resonate with one another, others clash. Regardless of the tension or lack of it between them, they complement and enrich one another, offering new insights into the author's rhetoric. Chapter 2. Walk upright and put yourself first. Walk upright. In lobsters, serotonin is the hormone responsible for posture. Low-ranking lobsters produce a low level of serotonin. This holds true for humans too. The lack of this hormone results in a low level of self-confidence. Moreover, it means more pain, less happiness, a shorter lifespan, and more illness among both humans and the crustaceans. A lobster with high levels of serotonin is cocky, not likely to back down when challenged. Higher serotonin levels denote a higher spot in the dominance hierarchy. At the top, we feel more confident. With our confidence at its highest, we experience less misery and sickness. This hormone makes us less prone to dying, thus serotonin is crucial for survival. Once an evolutionary mechanism, walking upright helped early humans free their hands and use them to manipulate tools. Today, shrugging your shoulders is a conscious choice. As you make it, you agree to accept the responsibilities of life voluntarily. We are not mere tool operators anymore. We have the potential to create by transforming chaos into the realities of habitable order. So pay attention to your posture. Choose to hold your shoulders high over drooping around. Be assertive. Say what you believe is right. You need to realize that your desires are just as important as everyone else's. You have the right to want things for yourself. As you walk straight, your serotonin will flow with ease, making you, in turn, a more confident person. Put yourself first. If your beloved pet is sick, you take it to a vet, get a prescription for a drug, and do your best to administer it. However, when you fall ill, you are not so quick to help yourself the same operative way. When something causes pain in your body, you will eventually find your way to the doctor. But what if it is your soul that hurts? How likely are you to go and get professional treatment? Jordan B. Peterson tries to explain the nature of such behavior through the reciprocity of order and chaos. The former is the known territory, where everything is familiar and organized by you. The latter is the unknown that rests in the darkness of mystery. Symbolically, we associate order with masculinity as men build towns and normalize our space and time. Chaos is eternally feminine, for we are born from the unknown, which is the synonym for the possibility to become anyone. To suffer terribly and to know yourself as the cause, that is hell. Jordan B. Peterson. We all try to make things right, reflecting our strive for bringing order into our lives. However, chaos is always there as well. It breeds just about any possibility to do good and evil. When we realize being equally capable of both, we get scared, skeptical, and even disgusted by what we are. No wonder no one rushes to cure themselves on tentative signs of illness. Alas, people love their pets more than themselves. First of all, spell out who you are. It is not given to us. We need to make ourselves. Refine your personality. Start now by treating yourself like someone you are responsible for helping. Did you know? Lobsters have been around for more than 350 million years. Chapter 3. Choose people who care for you and don't compare yourself to others. Choose people who care for you. We let into our life the people we need the most at the moment. When we are happy, we go for other happy ones. When we are broken and depressed, we reach out to people going through the same thing. Sometimes we might find ourselves repulsed by others' character traits. Psychologists believe that whatever irritates you about another person, you despise about yourself. The majority of people think that helping others is a good deed. However, these others, the victims, might not need the help itself. Instead, they would like to feast upon the energy of the rescuer. In this type of relationship, the rescuer is more of a narcissist, taking pride in what they do. When you dare aspire upward, you reveal the inadequacy of the present and the promise of the future. Jordan B. Peterson. It requires strength to surround yourself with healthy people who want the best for you. They should also be mature and self-sufficient so that you can also learn from them. You need to use your judgment, build courage, and protect yourself from pity and too uncritical compassion. It is only appropriate to be around those whose lives will improve if yours improved. Don't compare yourself to others. No matter how good you are at getting things done, there will always be others out there who are better. For instance, you may be a decent swimmer, but obviously you are not Michael Phelps or Katie Ledecky. A small percentage of people produce pretty much of everything. Winner takes all is a very dramatic saying. However, people who are best at what they do get more access to resources and attention. The majority of us are not the best. We are ordinary people who shine or tarnish at times. We need to make peace with our downs. They are a common thing. But whenever we succeed, we should compare our success to our previous history of accomplishments, not ourselves to other people. None of us are worthless. It is a pretty destructive thought that causes us even more damage. We need to create a positive illusion, if that helps, and try to make it a reality. Humans are not equal in ability or outcome, and never will be. Jordan B. Peterson. Did you know? When you persuade yourself that you are irrelevant, you are not doing a deep, philosophical analysis, but succumbing to rationalizing mind games. Chapter 4. Raise your children to be decent people and organize your immediate space first. Raise your children to be decent people. You might be surprised, but the most violent people are children at the age of 2. They start exploring the world and limits of what is allowed. They express their negative emotions by fighting back, biting, kicking, crying, and so on. Children don't cry only out of sadness or pain. There are fear or sadness and anger crying, which are different in the way they manifest. Crying out of anger is an act of dominance, and parents should treat it as such. Some of the popular upbringing methods today almost wholly exclude the practice of discipline and punishment. A lot of new parents find them synonymous with tyranny and torture. The line is thin indeed, yet both should be part of a balanced upbringing, performed with exceptional care. If you want to shape your child's behavior, figure out what it is exactly. Observe what your child is doing now. Reinforce the positive aspects of their actions. The following are some examples of simple rules for kids. Fight only in self-defense. Don't bully others. Eat in moderation and be thankful for the food. Share your things with others. Be attentive and respectful when adults address you. Take care of your stuff. Organize your immediate space first. Living, most of us try to do the right thing. Abide by the law, respect others. However, being good people does not keep us harmless. We can still fall victim to the wrongdoings of others. When that happens, some of us break and resort to violent behavioral patterns themselves. Still, others find the strength to forgive and move on. We can either replicate or learn from the evil to never allow it to happen again. We take a lot for granted, even the spaces we live in today, because order needs to be maintained. When we pay insufficient attention to it, corruption finds its way in. Some tend to blame God for this, as if we hold no responsibility for our lives whatsoever. We should ask ourselves whether we have exhausted all our opportunities and used our potential to the fullest. If we don't find the strength to do that, we might spiral into despair and resentment. A hurricane is an act of God, but failure to prepare when the necessity for preparation is well known, that's sin. Jordan B. Peterson. Analyze your life to elicit what you are doing wrong. Using your good judgment and willpower, stop doing it today. You need to conduct an audience by yourself and stop blaming others, the government, God, your boss, etc., for everything that went awry in your life. Hewing away self-destructive behaviors, we become stronger and get to see clearer into the future. Chapter 5. Concentrate on what matters and stop lying. Concentrate on what matters. Sharing does not mean giving out without getting something in return. For this reason, some children refuse to share. The model of sharing is the basis for initiating a trade. This last one is the symbolic form of building relationships with other people. If children can't share, they can't trade, which means, in turn, that they don't get to have friends. Thus, friendship is a form of trade. If you find yourself living in a world you don't like, start reviewing your values. Step aside and try to reevaluate your current presuppositions. You might realize that holding on to them will not make you the person you are supposed to be. Sort the meaningful from the habitual, yet harmful. Indeed, our lives involve a lot of suffering that comes upon realizing our vulnerability and mortality in general. Many of us postpone the pleasure of living today for the sake of preparing for the future. If that seems meaningful for you, then pursue it. Good and evil are the attached values that come with the work of our self-consciousness. We are capable of making things meaningful. However, we also tend to substitute meaning with expedience. The latter is perishable. It is a short-term solution that brings no consolation. On the other hand, the meaning is about maturity and growth. It is our ability to bring order and humility into our lives. Stop lying. We can use words to share information and experiences, create meanings, and manipulate reality. With such power at hand, we can make up a life lie that would feature a narrow, predetermined outcome of our actions and thoughts. Life lie follows the presupposition that there is only one unchangeable truth we should stick to. Creating this perfect image of what your life should be like is very harmful because there are too many variables to consider. The inability to implement your dream could lead to stress and anxiety, as you won't be living the life you have, but the life you imagine. To tell the truth is to bring the most habitable reality into being. Jordan B. Peterson. Truth is personal, yet objective at once. It doesn't come masked as the views and beliefs of others, nor is it an ideology. Your truth is your narrative that grows out of your unique circumstances. Identify your personal truth, tell it to yourself, and share discreetly with others. The instant you do it, you will feel more confident because knowing our personal truth provides a solid ground underneath our feet. Chapter 6. Listen to others and word your thoughts carefully. Listen to others. There is a clear distinction between listening and hearing. However, most of us tend to ignore it and choose the latter over the former. As we hear someone else talking, we just let our brain react to a sound stimulus. On the other hand, when we listen, we let the thoughts and ideas pass through our psyche. In the process, they might also cling to our consciousness, causing us to have to digest them. Sometimes it isn't easy to figure out what the other person is talking about. For the most part, this happens because this is the first time they are wording their innermost thoughts. As they repeat them, some details may sound contradictory. However, it does not mean that they are necessarily lying. Their views need to take on the most suitable verbal shape, and this process, resemblant of giving birth, might take some time. When a person talks about some highly charged emotional event, the utterances might come out in chunks, incoherently, because they gradually choose what needs to be left unspoken. If the conversation seems boring, you are not actually listening to it. When you take your time to listen carefully, people will tell you everything they are thinking with very little deceit. They will share absurd, exciting, and interesting things, and you will never have a boring conversation again. Word your thoughts carefully. Our brain makes the reality into words as long as the objects they signify are meaningful to us. So is the world around us. We learn to use and navigate it. However, objects and phenomena of the world are mutually connected and dependent on one another. To extract them from the whole of reality, i.e., understand them, we need to be very accurate and precise with the verbal forms, words, we use to name them. Careful wording helps us to know and explore our limits, identify with others, and convey our thoughts most efficiently. The same is right about ourselves. Nevertheless, these are not inalterable, as other people and circumstances make changes in the way we are. When the habitual world around us collapses, we find ourselves in a state of chaos. We don't know the name for it, therefore, we need to figure it out. Change of the familiar prompts us to act and discover new things. When you have something to say, silence is a lie. Jordan B. Peterson. You need to see a clear picture of where you were in the past, how your actions led you to be the person you are today. Tell people around you who you are. Aim at a sea of troubles. Formulate your meaningful things and move towards them. Did you know? Before starting a tough conversation, you need to formulate its topic first to make it go easier. Chapter 7. Win in your own hierarchy and preserve your strength. Win in your own hierarchy. Skateboarding is dangerous, just like any other physical activity, and that's the point. Children want to celebrate themselves over danger. Their parents want their kids to be safe. They purchase protective equipment and even try to oversee the process. However, most adults don't realize or have already forgotten that children like the danger because it helps them become competent. When you gain your own experiences, you can keep safe. When given the opportunity, we prefer to live on the edge. This is how we build confidence in our experiences. Moreover, most of us enjoy taking risks as it enlivens us, making us ready for the future while still enjoying the present. It took untold generations to get you where you are. A little gratitude might be in order. If you're going to insist on bending the world to your way, you better have your reasons. Jordan B. Peterson. Boys and girls are different. After they enter puberty, these differences become even more pronounced. Boys are less agreeable, like to compete, and are more interested in things. On the contrary, girls are less independent, more empathetic, and take an interest in people over things. Both sexes run in different hierarchies. Girls can win in both. However, when boys start to share female values, they lose among other males. In our societies, male strength defines the way our relationships are built. Women want tough men, not boys. When they see a tougher man, they go for him. Nevertheless, when a woman tries to be tough, assertive, and generally act like a man, she finds it much more difficult to find a match. We shouldn't try to erase all the differences between boys and girls. Preserve your strength. Some of the world's biggest religions propagate limitations and suffering as the ultimate conditions for being. If we were not limited by anything, our bodies, brains, etc., we would be everything. However, experiencing these limits involves a great deal of suffering. This last one, in turn, can be the result of illness, accident, or actions of other people. All of these circumstances are nearly impossible for us to control. Yet, there is still another kind of suffering, suffering for the sake of suffering. Many people even derive immense pleasure in this self-inflicted torture. Why? We tend to choose suffering over strength when we are reluctant to resolve complicated life situations. With time, our brain gets used to chemical and hormonal bombs and tells our body that suffering is the only emotion it wants to experience. We love people for their limitations because they shape our identities and generally define who we are. There are many things to be thankful for each day. As the day ends, try to enlist everything good that took place: a tasty cup of coffee, a cute animal you petted on the street, a polite shop assistant, etc. When you try to concentrate on the positive ones, you will see that they outweigh the nuisances. This revelation will help you preserve the strength you carry in you. Make good things happen. Pet a cat when you see one on the street. Conclusion. Like it or not, we all strive to avoid getting hurt or damaged. Some of us experiment, take risks, and thus learn about the world around us and ourselves. There are others who prefer staying in their protective yet imaginary shell. They think that going slow doesn't prevent arriving. However, there is very little movement in the shell. Both approaches define the way we choose to interact with reality. After all, this is a self-help book interspersed with ample examples. By now, you have probably realized the importance of a good serotonin level, putting yourself first, choosing people who will bring to the fore the best in you. You are well aware that you should be comparing yourself to yourself only, as each person is unique. Telling the truth and articulating your thoughts most accurately is crucial, not only for others to get you, but also for you to understand yourself. You might have found the rule on winning in your hierarchy somewhat controversial and right-wing. This is the rhetoric Jordan B. Peterson resorts to in his works and speeches. Therefore, you had a little taste of it. No matter how far some of Peterson's statements go from what you believe in, the bottom line for this book can be rendered in a know thyself maxim. When you know the truth about yourself, your truth, you can open yourself to the world. Try this. As human beings, we use words to communicate with each other. Is it enough to just speak? Do you enjoy all the conversations you have? Do you speak out your ideas with precision? Are you a good listener? Most of us aren't. Pick a friend who'd like to improve their listening skills and do this. 1. Choose a topic for your conversation. The more heated, the better. Perhaps it could be the one where you disagree a bit. 2. Have your friend say his first thought on that. 3. As they are through, take time to retell this thought to them using your own